Good afternoon. Welcome to Christ United Methodist Church. My name is Ben Williams, and it's a deep joy to be one of the pastors of this congregation and to welcome you to this special afternoon concert. A couple things that I want to share. I want to start by thanking all of our musicians for all of your work, all the time and preparation you've put into this moment today. We are grateful. I want to be sure that I take a moment to thank Dr. Daniel Steinert, who is our Director of Music Ministries here at Christ Church. Week in and week out, he helps us to glorify God in such beautiful and incredible ways and ushers us into the heights of praise in ways that are far beyond my imagination. And I'm so grateful for that Sunday in and Sunday out. Yes. There are many a Sunday that I think, we could do without the sermon, but we cannot do without music. And we are grateful for that. My own family says that, and that's okay. All is well. I do want to thank you for your vision. Shortly after your arrival here, you had the vision that we could use music as a way to connect with a larger community, and we could use music as a way to help generate resources, would help those far beyond our walls. And over the years, that's led to you helping raise over $25,000, and that is just stunning to me. And what an extension of your grace and your gift and vision. And today you've come to be part of that. I assume many of you, like myself, have watched the news and have seen the devastating impacts of Hurricane Ian. Of course, here in North Carolina, we know something about hurricanes as well and have been the beneficiaries of folks who have come to our need when we've been in trouble. The United Methodist Committee on Relief, some of you may or may not have heard of that agency, but a worldwide agency put in place by the United Methodist Church is on the ground already in places around the world before disaster happens, and so is able to respond and actually stays on the ground far after most of the other agencies you read about or see in the news have long gone. Generous resources every Sunday that are donated help us keep that agency moving around the world, and so today the resources that you offer in the basket when you came in or as you leave will be a part of us helping our neighbors in Florida. I was with a delegation of folks from Florida last week in the mountains of North Carolina, and it's still obvious what their need is, and I had the joy of sharing this concert that we were going to be having and encouraging them that help is, again, further on the way. So thank you for your generosity today. The bottom of the program gives a list of all the different ways that you can donate and support this cause, and we are grateful for every good gift. As you came in, if you saw, if not on the way out, there is some information about our Christmas Eve services. Those who give supervision to me and my good work would tell me I'd be remiss if I didn't invite you. We worship on Sunday mornings at 9 and 11 in this space. And on Christmas Eve, we're going to have 3 worship services, one at 3 here, one at 5 up on the green, and back in here at 7, and more information about that as you leave today. Also, a children's Christmas pageant that's happening early in December for anyone who has children or grandchildren would like to be part of that. It reads that we're hiring shepherds, angels, and wise people. So if you know any of those folks, we are on the search for them and would love to have them be part of our Christmas pageant. And last, I understand that upon completion of this experience today, anybody like ice cream? Anybody? Not that you came for the ice cream, but there is ice cream. And so when we finish today, opportunity for a reception and time together over in Ascension Hall right across the way, and look forward to spending some time with you there. Again, thank you for coming. Thank you for being part of this, and may we bless God and one another in these offerings today.
I am Daniel Steinert, and it's a privilege to be here with you. Got to invite a lot of you personally. So much do I believe in this mission that is ongoing with these concerts since 2010. Our Dr. Dan, that's exactly right. So again, another shout out. Thank you, Diane Bratz and the hospitality team for the ice cream you're about to enjoy. But maybe even sweeter than that is our soloist for today. And again, it's as if you were gonna, ask Horowitz to come and do a concert and then say, oh, by the way, would you mind accompanying the choir? As long as you're here, right? You do read music, so I asked and I received. And not only that, but I get to welcome my duet partner to get this beautiful concert started. So will you give a warm welcome to Dr. Solomon Eichner, please? program as well. You get to sing this wonderful hymn. It's turning 100 years old in 2023, so we thought we'd get it still up. It's significant and it's grateful words. Certainly is a way to start every day, that attitude of gratitude. One thing I'm thankful for today is it's 81 degrees and we're serving ice cream. So I didn't want it to be like 45 and crisp and really look silly. So.
Good afternoon. It's really an honor to be here. My pleasure to share such beautiful gifts with you today. I want to thank Daniel for the invitation to perform here. I see one of my friends in the audience right here who recommended me to Daniel. And that's how really life works, with about connections and networking and meeting people. That's life. So I didn't win the Powerball yesterday, so I still have to play some concerts. And I don't use that at every concert I play. It's fitting, because now it's just insane amount of money that the Powerball is. But you know, if I even won that, I'd still play concerts. You know, I play about, I'd say, 80 concerts average a year. That's pretty grueling. I wouldn't play that many if I won. I like how Daniel puts in the advertisement, the 34-year-old pianist is playing for you today. I've been playing piano for a long time, since 5 years old. So a lot of notes, a lot of hours, torturous hours learning this types of music, you know? But I still do it. I don't know why, but I do it. So today, you sort of have a buffet of really tasty stuff. So you already are having some desserts before the ice cream. George Gershwin, great American innovator, one of the most famous American composers. He combines a little bit of classical, jazz, blues. You know, what he heard, he was influenced a lot by the South, you know, down in South Carolina and Charleston area. But he, of course, is a good Brooklyn boy. So, famous 3 preludes for the piano. They're like a set. You usually play them all together. They're pretty short. They're not easy. You'll hear the first one, very virtuosic, fast, jazzy, syncopated. Second one, slow, in a minor key, maybe a little bit sad. And then the finale is like a lively dance. Frédéric Chopin, the greatest Polish pianist, Polish composer. He's always on my programs every year, myself being of Polish descent. It's something in my blood. And I would feel really terrible and guilty if I didn't play Chopin every year. There's some composers I leave off my programs for purposes that I won't explain, but not Chopin. Always Chopin's on the program. And Rachmaninoff too, which you'll hear at the end. So a nocturne, he loves writing nocturnes, short form pieces. They're repetitive. He develops them with variations, with little ornaments, and make it his distinct style with that signature sound of his. He loves trills. He loves fast passages, beautiful harmonies. So the nocturne in C sharp minor, a very sublime one, written at the end of his life when he was very ill. And it wasn't even published until after he died, so it's called Opus Posthumous. There's a lot of composers who have extra music that no one even knew about during their lifetime, and some are really gems, like this one. Johannes Brahms, German romantic composer. He grew up in Hamburg, Germany, where they make the Steinways. And he grew up in a neighborhood that was surrounded with a lot of gypsy people, Hungarians. So he heard that sort of spicy, ethnic music, really full of fire and soul. So he wrote music, Brahms, that was influenced by Bach and Beethoven, very structured, classical, very tight-knit. And then he also wrote music like this, full of fire, imitating the Hungarian style. So the Hungarian dances of him, they're short, they're fast, virtuosic. He wrote a lot of them, so this is probably the most famous one. The Clair de Lune by Claude Debussy, another sublime piece, one of his most famous works. You know, people who don't know really about classical music, they know this. You know, you hear it in everything, in movies and TV and so on and so on. I wonder if Debussy is getting all those royalties from that. So it's called The Moonlight, of course, and it's actually a movement in a suite for the piano called the Suite Bergamasque. And each piece has a title, descriptive title. Debussy loves doing that because it's something that influenced the piece, or vice versa. So it's always very French, beautiful colors. You know, I always say to the audience, you should close your eyes when you listen to this. And you should envision whatever you want. So, the Debussy Clair de Lune. What am I playing next? All right. When I do short pieces like this on the program, and there's so many, Nikolai Kapustin, a little jazz prelude. He wrote hundreds and hundreds of short little virtuosic, really difficult, technically demanding piano pieces. He's a composer from the Ukraine, from Kiev, so I put him on my program this year. He's one of the only really, really good composers in the current century that writes music like this, a fusion of classical blues, really good stuff. All right, so now we're into the final section. Rachmaninoff, 3 pieces from the great Russian master. When I was saying earlier about torturing yourself, now is a great display of that. So, it's always torturous. All right, so Rachmaninoff, when you say his name, you should have goosebumps on your arms. And with such a long name, difficult name for such a big man who was basketball size, he was 6'5". His hands were massive, like baseball gloves, you know? So that's why his music is so demanding. Extra, extra large. All of his notes, they're so widespread, you know. So we start out with the famous C-sharp minor prelude, the first one he wrote. It's a good statement piece, you know. He shows what he's all about. Very dramatic, you know, explosive chords. Triple forte, 4 forte sometimes, and then 4 pianos. So extreme dynamics, extreme contrasts. He gives you a melody, is not so great, but he repeats it, and he shows you what he can do with it, develop it with variations. The Flight of the Bumblebee, which is a little nasty thing that I recently just learned, so we'll see how it goes. So you'll see next to Rachmaninoff's name is Rimsky-Korsakov, so another great Russian. And he is the original composer of the Bumblebee. And it's a little interlude that the orchestra plays in the opera The Tale of the Sultan King. Okay, yeah, and a very long opera, a 1 minute, 2 minute little orchestra piece with the strings going very fast, imitating the bumblebee. The story is in the opera that the Persian king, he always loves writing about Persian, exotic, Middle Eastern stories, Rimsky-Korsakov. The prince is turned into a bumblebee and cursed and flying around. That's all it is. And then in the hands of Rachmaninoff, who takes the melody and transforms it, which actually fits very well in the piano. The chromatic scale, any musicians in the audience, the black and white notes on the piano, that's what it is. And he almost used all 88 keys. And then we go to the prelude in G minor. I finish off with the military march with that distinct rhythm, not the month march, the military march. So very nice to be here with you today, performing in this nice space. If you're interested, I do have some CDs and DVDs for sale afterwards. I will be donating some of the proceeds to the benefit for the hurricane. I do play a lot in Florida and have a lot of friends there. So thank you again. Tchaikovsky, Dance of the Four Swans from Swan Lake, in a knuckle buster by American pianist Earl Wild.
I scream, you scream, we all scream.